Today we're here at Zoo America to do some interviews about some animals. So, I'm going to fill you in on some animal knowledge. Let's go. Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here with Katie. Hello.
Hi.
What do we have here?
This is Kat. She is a Greater Roadrunner, and she is about 3 years old. And she was about 3 weeks old when she developed cataracts on her eyes. So she is partially blind. She can only see shapes and shadows, but she still does quite well here.
Do you do anything special to help this bird with her mostly being blind?
Yes. She has to be housed by herself because an animal being blind is usually a red flag to other animals to possibly injure them or hurt them in some way. So, as horrible as that sounds, but we keep her by herself for that reason, and her enclosure is always kept the same. So we introduce things very slowly to her so she's not tripping, and she seems to understand her area. She eats fine on her own. She does lots of normal Roadrunner behaviors. She coos, they're in the cuckoo family, and she also lays a lot of eggs, and she makes does a lot of good behaviors with our staff members, and she sits very well for us, for the most part.
I also see they have this purple leash on her, so what do you use that for?
Yeah, she has a harness on her. It's actually made for corvids, so anything in the crow family, but we also use it for her, and that's because Roadrunners don't have very strong legs. A lot of our birds of prey get leather bands in their legs to keep them from flying away, but her legs couldn't tolerate a leather band. Any Roadrunner or corvid couldn't do that, so we use just a regular harness. It's very simple, and she allows us to put it on her and allows us to take her off of her. So she's been trained to do this, and then she normally will sit on her hands. So it's just to ensure that she doesn't get away, because she wouldn't survive, especially in our temperatures and without being able to see.
Where can you find these Roadrunners in the wild?
You can find them out west in the deserts, so you'll find them in Arizona, in Texas, New Mexico, and down in Mexico. There's another species called the lesser Roadrunner that is a little different, and they live more in Mexico.
What kind of stuff do they eat out in the wild?
Lots of stuff. They actually could eat rattlesnakes. They could eat any kind of snake, lizard. They also eat bugs, and they eat small mammals, birds. Not too many eggs, but they would also eat some vegetation. About 90% of their diet is something meat related, and then 10% is seeds and any kind of vegetation, but we rarely see them eating vegetation. They love their mice here at the zoo, and worms and crickets are another favorite to catch.
What other adaptations do they have for surviving out in the wild?
Well, since they live in the desert, they have, actually, the babies have black skin so that they can absorb the sun better, which seems strange since it's already so hot in the desert. They wouldn't really need that, but they do have that. And they have darker skin right now, so when they want to sunbathe, they'll actually pull back their wings and expose their dark skin so that they absorb more heat. And they're also very streamlined to run, so if she were standing upright, you would see that she has long legs. She has a small tail that acts like a rudder, so when she is making fast turns, she just turns her tail, and that's how she can run. She ducks her head down, so her body is totally streamlined.
That's probably everyone knows out in internet land. Everyone probably knows of the cartoon of the Roadrunner and the coyote. So how accurate would that be to real life?
It's not at all accurate. They could potentially be a predator. It's unlikely. The coyotes would be more interested in the nestlings or the eggs than an actual Roadrunner, because they are very difficult to catch. They're fast, they can dart and move and turn quickly, so it would be hard for a coyote to catch them, but there's not so much dynamite involved, so it just depends. But they could definitely try. And the coloration is very different, and they're not as large as they appear to be on the cartoon. They're actually fairly small. They do have long legs.
And if you look upon the Wikipedia, which everyone does every once in a while, Roadrunners are actually a lot slower than coyotes. So I do my research before I come out here and do this. So how fast can these birds run?
It's estimated they can run around 25 miles per hour.
And I also read on the Wikipedia that coyotes can run up to 40 miles an hour. or even faster.
Yeah.
So the cartoon's not too accurate in coloration, behaviors, and
Yes, not at all. But yet,
mostly for
it's-
entertainment.
Yeah, and everyone knows a Roadrunner because of it. So it's good in some ways.
And brings more attention to the animal.
Exactly.
Kind of keep it less endangered, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, and they're currently not endangered. They're doing fairly well. Like every animal, they're suffering from habitat loss and other problems that humans bring. But they are holding steady. They're doing fairly well.
What are your favorite things about these Greater Roadrunners?
They're really beautiful. I don't know if you can see, but they have really pretty blue colors around their eyes. And their feathers are actually iridescent. So when they're in the sun, you can see shades of green and pink and orange. So they're actually really beautiful. They all have different personalities. Ours, the ones we have right now, were hand-raised here at Zoo America. So they're very friendly with us, which sometimes they're also friendly with our guests. We don't want guests to touch them, but sometimes they jump up and they're kind of asking for attention. But they're always bowing their heads and wagging their tails, and that's a sign of courtship. So if they don't have a male or a female in there to court, they'll often court us. So it's kind of entertaining. They bring us a stick or a mouse or something, and it's always just entertaining to watch. And they also have gorgeous eyelashes. I don't know if you saw them or not. It just seems strange for a bird like this to have such pretty eyelashes.
Well, thank you so much, Katie, for telling us about
Absolutely.
these Greater Roadrunners.
Sure.
If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and come back next week for some more animal education.